guys, welcome back to our channel. It's Yvonne from Ginger Chick Rehab. I'm so glad to have you back and checking out what I am up to. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing some IOD transfer. Got some pieces of wood, I've got some thrifted pieces. So let's jump into this craft and see what we can create. So are you all like me where you're like, oh, I gotta get the new transfers, I gotta get the new Christmas, and then okay, well I get it, then now what do I put it on? So yes, I had to go through my stash. I am like, okay, what do I have that I can put these beautiful transfers on? So these are one of those thrift store finds that I just can't pass up. They have a hole in them. They're a cutting board. They may have an image, but I know I can sand it off. And then they kind of just lay there in my stash and I never end up grabbing them. But I thought, you know what? I'm working on my stash. That's my end of the year goal. These are the perfect items, the perfect size items to put these transfers on. So minimal work of sanding off any images or sanding off any for the cutting boards. If there's any knife marks, I still want to get them nice and prepped. So to get these sprayed up, I just want a basic white. So my go-to is always my Kills paint and primer and using my handheld TrueCoat 360 sprayer. Oh my goodness, I just love this machine. Now, after my boards are dry, I'm just going to sand them. I'm going to sand them so they're nice and smooth, and I'm also going to be distressing those edges, just letting some of that natural wood come through. Oh my gosh, when I saw this figgy pudding on Painted the Heirloom, I knew that I had to have it. Oh my gosh, it's just a nice size sheet, and right off the bat, that Merry Christmas gets you, doesn't it? Just some beautiful, beautiful detailed images. I love reindeer. I love deer. I love birds. Oh my gosh, this the color a poppin'. Now, as you notice, I actually had my boards picked out before I had which images I was going to be using. So now I'm going in and picking out, that's how I'm choosing my images, is what image fits onto the board that I have. And I just, do you all love reindeer? I love Moose's reindeer at Christmas time. So now I love him at the bottom. Oh my goodness, but he does need a little bit of color. So I'm going to go in and use some of these Jamie Ray vintage grain sack stripes. I know they're not going to be as crisp as I could do if I'm taping them off, but I'm in the process of making a whole bunch of signs, and if I'm going to sell any of this, I need to get in my booth now. We are at the season. Some of this I will be keeping for myself, but so I'm doing a little bit of a spray adhesive on the back of this so that stencil does not move. I'm going to be using that Dixie Belle's Barn Red color and just a sponge applicator. I'm just trying to figure out why I'm always getting some bleed through underneath these stencils. When I use the brush, I get bleed through. I have so much minimal on here. I don't really know what I'm doing wrong, so I'm trying really hard not to have very much paint on here at all. But I noticed even with the sponge applicator, I have to push down on it, kind of on the hard side, to get down the depth of what the stencil is. After it's dry, I'm going to go ahead and sand just those little edges. I tried not to get it all the way down where I'd already sand. And then I'm just going to sand that entire green sack stripe to make sure that it's nice and flat. It's going to be a little bit raised, and I don't want it to. I want it to be nice and flat. My reindeer is going to be overlapping these green sacks just a little bit, so that I had to get them down first. But oh, I can already tell how much that red, that pop of red is just making that reindeer pop. Now I cut up just the Merry and the Christmas separately so they would fit on this little cutting board. I love it overlapping that grain sack. That's really going to tie it all together. That was just a little too much blank space at the top. Tell you how excited I am that this bird on the branch fits this little round cutting board. Oh my gosh. Yes, God wink moment here because I had the boards. I didn't pick out my images until the boards were done. That's all I had. So, oh my gosh, look at how it's a perfect fit from side to side. So can anybody comment down below, when you're doing a transfer, do you notice the difference in, like, the reindeer didn't take too much to rub on and get transferred, but when it comes to the layers of color on these transfers, I really have to rub-a-dub-dub on them to get them to transfer over. Now for my next one, I just have this simple star. It was just something I had in my stash. I hadn't really done anything with it. I'm not even sure why. It's a pretty star, but perfect for this moose. I think it's a moose, and a Christmas greetings. Just look at the Christmas greetings, fits perfectly. That little moose fits perfectly, even though we know they're not little, but oh, I just absolutely love it on this simple star. When I got this piece out, I thought, oh, I'll paint it up and I'll put something on it. But once I put that Merry Christmas next to this color, I absolutely loved it. But the only thing I think, hopefully I can get Chris to make me just a plain, simple frame. But this is just absolutely beautiful on this. We're going to switch over, and I ordered early in the season some of the Rocycled decoupage paper off of Etsy. How could you not love this print that you can cut up and get 6 different projects out of? So now I have this cutting board, and I love this cardinal. Oh my goodness. Like I said, with having a retail booth, I love doing Christmas, but Christmas you only have minimal time to sell items, and I don't do craft shows or anything like that, so I don't try to overstock my booth with Christmas items. So yes, I love items that people can use year-round. This is almost the perfect fit. I'm not worried that it's not an exact fit because I will be distressing the paper after I get it Mod Podged on. But yo, just beautiful. I love that pop of red on this paper. So I like to center it. I like to start off with doing a halfway point, that way that I know that my image is not shifting on me. And then sometimes when I try to do the whole piece of wood or item that I'm Mod Podging and then trying to put it down, I never get it straight on the first time. So for me, I like to do the control of the half on and then glue that half down and then glue the other half. Now this is actually a frame. I'm not sure if Hobby Lobby still has them, but I had purchased it years ago. I used to have a collage of family pictures in our family room, and so, but I've always hoarded onto it because I like it. So I'm like, oh my gosh, this would be the perfect to go with this deer on these musical notes paper. So now I'm just going to be eyeballing. There's that little corner that's how it cut off all the 6 images. I'm going to cut that little tab off, and then I'm just going to eyeball what I think is center because I'm going to be distressing this paper anyway, but I need to cut off a little bit of the extras. It's a little too long. I'm going to take it over to my mouse sander, and I'm just going to distress those edges, just using the tip. Don't go too much onto your paper. I know that my cut is never as straight and even as a manufacturer's, and this just helps hide that. And I just love that little distressing that it gives, that little teared, weared over time edges. Now this definitely is an uneven surface, but I'm still going to do that same where I fold it in half and just Mod Podge it on little by little so I can control that it's staying straight. I actually had 2 of these in my stash, so I also went back and looked to see what else would fit, something that would be for the whole winter season, and I thought these pine cones on the simple postcard was perfect, although the stamps are make it a little bit too long for what the picture frame is. We're just going to cut those off. I'm just going to go through that exact same process where I distress that paper and then Mod Podge it just the same way. Now that this one is dry, I can go back in and I'm just going to take my little mouse sander, just the tip of it, and then just work all that paper on those edges off. I'm going right up to my paint line. I'm hoping some of my paint line, the paint part will show. This is just a great way to distress that paper and make sure that it was completely covering. And I'm just going to use an X-Acto knife and just cut out where that hole is. I think I'm just going to leave it plain for right now. I don't want any kind of string to distract from that beautiful cardinal. Now I need to seal my transfers in, and then I also want to seal my paper in just to protect it from getting wet or anything like that. So I'm just going in with the Waverly Antiquing Wax and then the Varathane Clear Wax. That's going to help me control that I don't get too brown. So I'm just going to take a little bit of that clear wax and then and make sure that I get it on the image first, and then I'll go back around the outer edges with a little bit of clear wax and the Waverly, the brown wax, just to give it that aged look. You could just go in with the clear to just seal it, but I love what that antiquing wax does to that natural wood. It's just going to make it pop just a little bit more. I wanted to seal my paper in, so I just used some clear coat matte, but I do kind of regret doing that only because it darkened, because the background is dark, it darkened up my paper a little bit more. It's not as white as it was when I started. I know I needed to seal it in with something. I think the wax may have done the same thing. I'm not sure, but you can't go back in time. All you can do is go forward. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. I had so much fun making it for you. I absolutely love transfers and I love decoupage paper. Oh my goodness. It just takes something plain and boring and just, oh my gosh, just brings it up a notch. And yeah, just little thrifted pieces of wood, little cutting boards, little odds and ends that I find that I was so happy to get to use out of my stash. So thanks for watching today's video, guys. And if I inspired you in any way to look at thrift store finds, or if you're interested in any of the transfers, remember that I shared the link down in the description of Yvonne store, her painted heirloom, along with, I always link everything in the description where I got the decoupage paper. I know I'm a little bit late in the season, but you never know if you want it for next year. Apparently, a lot of people get ready a lot earlier than I do. So thanks for watching, guys. And if you're part of my YouTube family, thank you so much. And if you are new and checking out this content for the first time and you liked what you saw, please hit that subscription button along with the notification bell so you know when we've uploaded a new video. And we will see you next time, guys. Bye.